Jingyun, and I'm a voice teacher and performer.
Hi, I'm Cass, a pain and movement therapist.
So Cass and I have known each other for a while now, and when I first met her, I really needed help for my knee and toe injury because I was experiencing pain from my past injuries. And after working together with her, I realized that I also wanted to explore more about working out because I don't know anything about it. So when I started physical training with Cass, I found out that again, it had an added effect for my voice and performance training that I didn't expect at the start.
Yeah, and Jingyun kept telling me that her teachers were noticing it. She was noticing it in her practice. She was using a bunch of things that we were doing in our sessions with her students, and they were also feeling positive effects. So she thought that it would make sense for me to do a workshop on my own for voice users, but I don't really know enough about voice to do a workshop on my own. So I thought we would join forces to bring you a workshop and bring as much value as possible.
So in this video, we'll be sharing more about our exploration and collaboration process, where you also find out more about the content of the workshop we've created as a result of our findings together. So watch on to find out.
Okay, so my first question for you is, what did you get out of the first month of working with me?
Okay, firstly, it was my first time having a structured workout routine, and it was one crafted by her specifically for the goals that I wanted to achieve, which was climbing, Wingchun training, and also voice training. So it was so targeted to the point that I realized after the first session how important those movements and positions we were exploring in our sessions were for the activities I wanted to pursue. In particular, the first warm-up that we ever did was a passover, where we had to like hold this towel thing and then like move backwards like this and then like pull it back. And the first time I did it, oh my god, I felt so much opening here, and at the same time also feeling like this was a very foreign movement and position for my body to be in. But as a result of that, I found myself being able to inhale and vocalize with a lot more freedom in the upper part of my rib cage after I started doing that particular portion of our warm-up across the month.
Just to explain what a passover is, because you're probably thinking, what the heck is that? It's a movement where you can use a towel or cloth or an exercise band, belt, whatever it is. You need to pull it taut, okay. Bring it to the front of your hips, and then bring it up and over your head, and then all the way back to your hips. And then keeping the band or whatever it is you're pulling taut, bring it back forward, completely slow and controlled, because you want to make sure that you're really exercising strength in all the ranges of movement that you're going through. You probably feel a really big stretch in your chest and the front of your shoulders. What was something that helped with Wingchun that also really helped your voice practice?
Again, it's from our warm-ups. I think it was a wall sit that we did. Probably the first time that I was doing it in such a targeted manner, because I've tried to do like little squats and stuff to help my voice practice, to get a bit more like engagement of the lower body and support towards like the upper ranges that we're trying to sing. But it's never been as effective as doing this. I think what really helped was because when we were doing the wall sit, you gave a specific cue of like kind of tilting the pelvis like away so that we kind of have this like rounded bottom feel. And then you also said something about like the knees being a certain way. I don't really remember what you said, but what I felt was a lot more engagement here. And as a result of that, I think when I started going back to my voice practice and working with my students, I could then help myself, firstly, to really feel strong here and not have to heave myself upwards to create a more strident and strong sound. And then with my students, I think for them it was just an easier way for them to like map this lower region, especially for those who tend to like hold themselves this way. That was very useful.
Yeah. So what a wall sit is you literally sit against the wall with your back against the wall, only it's not as comfortable as sitting down because you're pretending there's a chair there, but there's no chair. So you are the chair. So what I cued Jingyun to do was really posteriorly tilt her pelvis. So what that means is you drive your tailbone forward in order to press your lower back against the wall. And Jingyun really had trouble with getting her sacrum, it's a bone in the back, to drop down. In Wingchun, she had this issue as well, so I thought this exercise would really help with that. And she really gained a lot of understanding of how to have an open lower back area while squatting down, which was something that she found challenging. So I think that position also helped her to understand a little bit more about support from the inner thighs and also from the pelvic floor. And the thing that I told you about your knees were, we tried a few things. One where you were squeezing something between the knees, one where you were driving the knees slightly forward, and then one where you were pushing the knees out. So just to map the different ways that you can engage the pelvic floor and also the muscles around the pelvis, which is here. Yeah. So yeah, that's a wall sit. What is one exercise that you've taken away from our training together that you use during your sessions with your students and yourself as well?
It has to be the beast crawl hold. For myself, because initially when we worked together for me to learn how to get this like position for our Wingchun stance, it was really unfamiliar for me, but I realized that after doing the beast crawl hold, it also helped me to kind of release this part of my torso when I was singing. In particular, I tend to want to like reach upwards from here, and then it got my abdominal muscles really tight, and then I couldn't really get the sounds I want. So I think when I was working with my teacher Akiko on the song Gimme Gimme, I was trying to stretch out my chest dominant voice, but before I started training with Cass, when I tried to do that, I was just repeating those chest dominant vocal exercises without being able to get the physical support I needed for it. I knew it in theory, but I just couldn't do it. I was physically unable to do it. But after working together with her, I realized that, oh my gosh, I could do stuff like, a lot easier without having to put a lot of stress in the neck and throat region. So that was really awesome. And when I met Akiko, she also mentioned that, oh, your chest voice sounds a lot stronger and easier now. So I think that's the biggest change for me. In terms of applying it to my students, especially for students who are working on like beltier, more contemporary commercial music, we do need to work more on the chest dominant sound. And a lot of people tend to associate louder and harsh sounds with maximum effort. Yes, there's effort, but it's like, could you redistribute it from here to here instead? So the beast crawl hold kind of takes away tension from here and attention to here and a lot more into here. And as a result, they were able to get more of a thoracic compression here that helped with their subglottic pressure, such that they could repeat these difficult and harsher sounds without hurting themselves when repeating them.
Just to explain what the beast crawl hold is, it's being in a crawling position and then lifting your knees off very slightly from the ground. And what you're trying to do with your arms is to push the floor away from you as much as possible. So you're really drawing your scapulars away from each other, such that you feel a big stretch in your upper back area over here. And when you're doing that, you would also feel a lot of engagement in your core because of the position, trying to maintain the position. And so you feel a lot of connection between your ribs and your pelvis, and really, really feeling a lot in your chest region as well, which is that thoracic compression that Jingyun was talking about. So being able to engage the core, and I think the chest area, and feeling that widening of the upper back in the beast crawl, a lot of people are able to sense the back, because a lot of singers I notice tend to try and arch and really open this area, which causes a lot more pressure through here. Whereas if you start to be able to push through and understand how to engage this region and get the core to support, you get that thoracic compression that Jingyun was talking about, and you also get the support from the core to be able to allow the voice through, which is what she talked about reducing the subglottic pressure. Okay, last question before you go free. If you could recommend one thing from all of our working together to most voice users, what would you recommend?
I would recommend finding out what your vocal goals are or performance goals are, and then thinking about how you could incorporate physical training to target those goals. So especially for the program that you crafted for me, like all the movements and positions that we got into were very, very beneficial for what I as an individual needed. And I thought that that was what I needed to kind of push my vocal journey a little bit further beyond just theory and beyond just vocal exercises. And I think also with that idea of targeted physical training is to also realize that you can learn how to use your body in a way that strengthens it, creates necessary tension without causing excess tension to the way that you're using your voice. there seems to be this belief in more like traditional or older voice pedagogy circles that you just should avoid physical training of many forms. Generally, they'll be like swimming's okay, running's okay, but usually more like targeted stuff that like it's like heavier weights or like higher reps or like longer duration of working out is not recommended. But I think working with Cass has really shown me how it can be not just okay, but really beneficial to the whole process. And what's important is to really refine the body map and also be able to have the physical capacity to do the things that you need to do so that you can just go and think about your expression and all the musical things that you want to do on stage or with your audience.
Yeah, I took into consideration what Jingyun's goals were, took into consideration what she did in a week, how much voice practice, how much climbing, how hard is she climbing, how hard does she wish to climb as well, because you had climbing goals too, and you had goals for Wingchun that you wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
So thinking about if you wanted to reach those goals, how do you then structure your voice practice such that it's also not as tiring on you, and also make sure that your goals for climbing aren't interfering with your voice practice as well, because they can if you don't structure them properly. And so with that, then measuring out everything that Jingyun does and what's stressful or challenging in her life, we then thought about, okay, what can you do also in your physical practice that will really facilitate all of these things and not get in the way of any of them. Yeah. And it worked really well.
Yeah.
And
Just to help you understand, it's like I had 3 workout sessions a week, of which one is usually with Cass, and then I was teaching 4 to 5 days a week, about like 4 to 5 hours per day, and then I had occasional night rehearsals, and then if I don't work out, I will be going to climbing. So it was like a lot of physical activity, but because of the way it was programmed and structured, it made sure that I had enough recovery time, both physically and vocally, while also having the capacity to like grow my muscles.
Yes, to get strong in all the ways.
Yeah.
Alright, so feel free to try out the movements that we did today. We will also be talking a little bit more about training in our next video. We talked a little bit about that at the end, but we'll talk a little bit more in the next video. And of course, we will be talking a lot more about how to balance your physical practice and voice practice in our workshop in great detail, so that you know how to build a physical practice that will really elevate your voice practice.
And again, like we said at the start of our video, we created this workshop for people who are voice users of varying experience level. So if this sounds like it's something that you're interested in, definitely follow our event page and also the other stuff that we'll be sharing later on. Our workshop will be on Tuesday, 15th February from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It will be held at Decadence Co. at Goodman Arts Centre.
And if you're interested in this workshop, you can go to the link somewhere, and there will be more information on the workshop in the link, and also there'll be a button for you to click on to say that you're interested in this. Those people who click on that button and sign up over there will receive an early bird code. There'll be a maximum of 12 people for this workshop because we want to keep it small and intimate, and we want to make sure that everybody gets enough attention and specificity in advice. So do mark that you're interested.
If you're on Instagram, click on the link in our bios. If you're on Facebook, there should be a link somewhere here in our caption. Do indicate your interest by Monday, 24th January, 11:59 p.m. so that you can get the exclusive early bird deal.
Yes!
Yeah. So that's all for today. Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye!